The performance of the Ferrari SF-24 cars on the ultra-fast track in Jeddah lends itself to various interpretations. Based solely on the numbers, Charles Leclerc ended the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix with a gap at the finish line essentially identical to that of the inaugural race in Bahrain, also taking into consideration the race neutralization laps and the entry of the safety car following the incident suffered by the Aston Martin car of Lance Stroll on the 7th lap of the race. The Prancing Horse therefore restarts from the lowest step of the podium, behind the Red Bull duo. This also means that an approximate analysis of the performances of the Maranello cars could lead to conclusions significantly influenced by frustration over the technical dominance of the Milton Keynes team, which seems to have no end. However, an honest examination cannot ignore that 12 months ago, on the track overlooking the Red Sea, the SF-23 car confirmed itself as a definitively unsuccessful Formula One project. In the previous edition of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, the best Ferrari at the finish line was Carlos Sainz, finishing 6th under the checkered flag, with a gap that doubled the times compared to Sergio Perez, the race winner. Based on various analyses regarding telemetry analysis and the pure performance of the SF-24 car at the Jeddah circuit, we can reaffirm that the Maranello team has halved the gap from the Austrian side as compared to what was seen in 2023. And this is a good step forward for Ferrari. The solid work done by the Ferrari engineers during the winter allows them to be the leading pursuer of Red Bull, although something is still missing to challenge them. Examining the performance of the Prancing Horse from a consistency standpoint, the judgment is certainly positive. Tire management is no longer a huge problem limiting the drivers, who during the previous season were many times forced to carefully manage the Pirelli tires throughout the race. Consider that both Charles Leclerc and Oliver Bearman set their best lap times on the last lap. In Charles Leclerc's case, it was even the fastest lap of the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, achieved with hard tires that had covered a whopping 41 laps. A time set by the Monegasque driver, who, instead of bringing the car to the finish line comfortably, felt confidence in the vehicle and the tires. An encouraging sign because Max Verstappen also tried but turned out to be slower than the Ferrari driver. Despite the second podium in as many races, Fred Vasseur wanted to first pay tribute to Oliver Bearman. The 18-year-old English driver was ready after it was confirmed that Carlos Sainz would not be able to take part in the rest of the weekend due to appendicitis. There was only one free practice session available for the British driver, who was then directly involved in qualifying and the race. The French manager admitted that he did not expect such a performance from the Ferrari driver academy member, who finished 7th under the checkered flag, ahead of Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton. The Ferrari team principal emphasized that Oliver Bearman had already achieved something fantastic in the qualifying session, despite not making it to Q3. The same goes for the race, where he had to handle many new procedures like the start and the pit stop without making the slightest mistake. The Frenchman undoubtedly appreciated Oliver Bearman's ability to manage the gap and defend against Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton in the final stages of the race, improving his performance lap after lap. Regarding the fastest lap achieved by both drivers on the last lap, Frederic Vasseur believes it is evidence of the step taken by the SF-24 from the mere tire management point of view, although the pace is still missing to exploit this performance consistency and battle with the dominant Red Bull. The French manager reiterated that Charles Leclerc's performance is a huge step forward compared to 12 months ago. When asked if the race pace of the drivers was perhaps too conservative, fearing high degradation, Fred Vasseur explained the strategic choice. The former Alfa Romeo manager clarified that the early pit stop using the safety car, at lap number 7, and the subsequent laps spent behind Lando Norris forced Charles Leclerc to manage the tires more cautiously, which had to cover another 42 laps. Fred Vasseur is well aware that the gap to be reduced against the Red Bull RB20 is still significant. Nevertheless, he believes that through the Maranello team's potential, which has significantly reduced the gap, it is possible to catch up with Red Bull during the championship thanks to various updates and in-season development. For now, it's a good sign that the SF-24 has proven to be undoubtedly the second force on two completely different tracks in the start of the 2024 Formula One campaign.